Why? Why does the Pentagon employ so many old people? The whisper came from two young officers exiting the Pentagon's main entrance. Richard Morrison, a few yards away checking the parking card terminal, overheard. The speaker was Colonel Stephen Blake, 35 years old, with a promising career. He was talking to his friend as they walked, his voice loud enough. "I'm serious. This parking attendant. Yesterday he gave me the wrong parking spot. Today he didn't tow a vehicle in the general section. It stayed there for hours. The man can't even do his job." His friend, a younger captain, shrugged. "Maybe it's the Veteran Employment Program. You know, we're required to give them jobs, an obligation." "An obligation?" Blake laughed, a bitter, dismissive laugh. "The Pentagon is the world's most important military headquarters. We shouldn't be hiring out of obligation. Only the best should be here. That man, he's just taking up space. He should retire or work somewhere simpler, like greeting people at Walmart." The two walked away laughing. Morrison stood at the terminal. Did his hands tremble? No. Those hands that hadn't trembled decades ago, gripping the controls of an M1 Abrams tank, weren't trembling now. He just continued his job, silently. But today, that silence would end. The Pentagon parking garage stretched beneath one of the world's most secure buildings. 7 levels, thousands of vehicles, tens of thousands of people every day. Richard Morrison had worked here for 3 years, morning shift, 5:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. He was 79 years old, wore an orange security vest, his hair completely white. In his hands, parking cards, a radio, a simple notepad. Same routine every morning. Direct vehicles, check cards, solve problems. But the officers didn't take him very seriously. That morning, when Colonel Blake arrived with his car, Morrison handed him his card. "Good morning, Colonel. Section C is available today." "No, give me the general section," Blake cut him off. "Sir, the general section is only for 3-star and above." "I know the rules," Blake said impatiently. "But I have an important meeting today. General Morrison is expecting me, so I need a close spot." Morrison hesitated. "Sir, you need to show an authorization form." "Listen, old man." Blake leaned forward, his voice low but hard. "I've worked here for 12 years. You've been handing out parking cards for 3. Don't teach me the rules. Just give me the card." Morrison looked into Blake's eyes. Young, confident, impatient, and completely ignorant. He silently handed over the general section card. "Here you are, sir. But if security checks, it'll be fine." Blake snatched the card and drove through. "No thank you. No eye contact." Morrison watched him go, took a deep breath. This wasn't new. It had happened hundreds of times over 3 years. Dismissal, disrespect, invisibility. But he continued silently, because his war was over, or so he thought. Afternoon, 1 p.m. Morrison was nearing the end of his shift. Then his radio crackled. "Morrison, this is security. Unauthorized vehicle in section C12, parked in General Hayes's spot. Check immediately." Morrison stood up. C12, the section reserved for 3-star generals. He went there and saw Blake's black sedan right in the general's parking space. Morrison reached for his radio. "Security, I'm locating the vehicle owner." Just then, a convoy arrived. 3 black SUVs pulled up to the Pentagon's main entrance. From the middle vehicle, Lieutenant General Patricia Hayes emerged. 3 stars, serious face, Pentagon Operations Commander. Her aide approached. "General, there's a vehicle in your parking spot. We're removing it." "Who parked it?" Hayes asked sharply. Morrison stepped forward. "General, I'm checking. I apologize. This was my mistake. I gave the wrong card." "Your mistake?" A voice came from behind. Blake running over hastily. "No, General. This man gave me wrong directions. I just got out of my meeting. I had to leave my car here." Hayes looked at Blake. "Colonel Blake, this section is for 3-star and above. You're a colonel." "Yes, General, but it was an emergency." "An emergency is not an excuse to break rules." Hayes's voice was ice. Then she turned to Morrison. "Did you authorize him?" Morrison hesitated. If he told the truth, Blake would cause more problems, but he couldn't lie. "Sir," the colonel insisted, "I warned him, but you were weak," Blake interrupted, turning to Morrison. "This is your job, to enforce rules. But you're old, tired. Maybe this job is too much for you." Hayes's eyes narrowed. "Colonel Blake, what are you implying?" Blake, emboldened, continued, "General, with respect, this man shouldn't work in a critical place like the Pentagon. He's slow, indecisive, and frankly, he can't handle his duties. Maybe it's time for him to retire." Morrison listened silently. No anger on his face, no defense, just deep, weary calm. Hayes looked at Morrison. "Mr. Morrison, is this true? Can't you handle your job?" Morrison met Hayes's eyes. "Sir, I'm doing my best." "Your best?" Blake laughed. "That's not enough. The Pentagon requires excellence. Let me ask you, have you ever dismissed someone at work because of their age, or witnessed an elderly person do a job better than you expected? Share in the comments. Because today at the Pentagon, when Richard Morrison's true identity is revealed, everyone will be shocked." Hayes turned to her aide. "Get Morrison's personnel file, now." The aide quickly checked his tablet. "General, his file is very restricted. Only basic information. He came through the Veteran Employment Program. Retired colonel." "Colonel?" Hayes raised her eyebrows. She turned to Morrison. "You were a colonel?" Morrison nodded. "Yes, sir. A long time ago." Blake looked stunned. "You were a colonel? What unit?" Morrison quietly answered. "Armored Division, 2nd Armored Division." Hayes's face changed. "Wait, 2nd Armored Division, Gulf War." "Yes, sir." Hayes turned to her aide. "Search deeper. War records, now." The aide accessed a secure database. After a few seconds, his face went pale. "General, this is impossible." "What?" Hayes looked at the tablet, read. Her eyes widened. Blake shifted uncomfortably. "General, what is it?" Hayes looked at Blake, then at Morrison, then back at Blake. Her voice dropped, but each word was a hammer. "Colonel Blake, this man is Colonel Richard Tank Morrison. In 1991, during the Gulf War, his unit was cut off behind enemy lines. For 72 hours, with a single tank, he held off 50 enemy vehicles. He saved the rest of his unit, Silver Star, Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and most importantly, his tactics entered modern armored warfare doctrine. His name is taught in every tank commander training." Silence. Blake's mouth hung open. Hayes continued, her voice now trembling. "And you told him to greet people at Walmart." Hayes positioned herself in front of Morrison. She brought her heels together and gave the sharpest, most respectful salute. "Colonel Morrison, it is my honor to serve in this headquarters with a legend like you, sir." Morrison slowly returned the salute. "Thank you, General, but I'm just a parking attendant now." "No," Hayes was firm. "You were never just anything, and you never will be." Blake stepped back 2 paces. His face was ashen. I didn't know. I apologize." Morrison turned to Blake. His voice was calm, not judgmental. "Colonel Blake, you're a good officer, but you need to learn something. Rank isn't just what you wear on your shoulders, it's what you carry in your heart. I chose to work here because I love to serve, even in simple ways, and one day you'll understand that the greatest leaders do even the smallest jobs with honor." Blake bowed his head. Shame filled his eyes. Hayes turned to Morrison. "Colonel, I need to speak with you. Can you come to my office?" A week later, there was a change at the Pentagon parking garage. Richard Morrison was still there, but he was no longer just a parking attendant. He'd also been given the title Veteran Advisor. He was teaching young officers about leadership, humility, and service. Colonel Blake visited Morrison in his office. He had a file in his hand. "Colonel Morrison, I wanted to apologize to you, really. I underestimated you, and I was wrong." Morrison smiled. "Accepted, Colonel, but on one condition." "What?" "Treat the next parking attendant the way you'd treat me. with respect, because you never know who they might be. Blake nodded. Understood, sir. Morrison handed him a book. The cover read, Desert Storm Tank Warfare, The Morrison Doctrine. Blake opened the book. Inside was a photo of a young colonel on top of his tank in the desert, smiling. Below, Colonel Richard Tank Morrison, 1991. Blake's eyes filled with tears. This is you? Once upon a time. Now I'm just here. And that's enough. Blake closed the book. No, sir. You're a legend, and I'm ready to learn. Richard Morrison's story reminds us the greatest heroes work with honor even in the most ordinary jobs. They don't boast, they don't show off, they just serve. If this story moved you, help these stories reach more people. Share with your coworkers, your bosses, your elderly neighbors. Maybe they too have a hidden past. Subscribe. New hero stories every week. In the next video, another surprising story awaits you. Share in comments. Have you ever underestimated a veteran? Or learned about an elderly person's incredible past? Tell us. Remember, respect is earned, and true leaders find honor in every job. See you in the next story.